Good evening. It's Wednesday, February 19th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Calling the Lakeville Board of Health meeting to order. Is there anyone recording this in the audience? I see no one. LakeCAM is recording this. First on the agenda, 2 Janine Street, meet with Zenith Consulting Engineers to discuss requested local upgrade approvals. Let's see Will coming up. Turn it over to you, Will.
Will Connolly, Zenith Consulting Engineers, for the record. The site is 2 Janine Street. Just some background, and Mr. Cullen might be able to speak better to this than I can, but this existing system passed a Title V inspection, and I believe the well just barely failed. So instead of proposing an entire new system, we're proposing a tank replacement, which will be a microfast. And given the constraints on the site, we have to request a couple local upgrades. We're requesting a reduction between the foundation and the tank from 10 feet to 4 feet. There's an existing slab here, kind of in the same area as the existing tank, in a shed right back here, which kind of pins us. So there's really only one spot for it to go. We're also requesting a reduction between the tributary to a surface water supply and the tank, from 200 feet to 175 feet. There's a tributary across the street over here, which we're within the 200 foot. So it's pretty straightforward. If there's
Do you have
any
a copy of
questions.
that Title V?
I don't believe I have one with me. I know we have it in our files.
I can email it to you right now. Oh, cool.
Okay, and that well is a shallow well, I believe, Ed thought. It's not a deep well.
I'm not sure off the top of my head if that's.
Yeah, I was told it was a shallow well, but I can't confirm it. But
We have nothing in shallow wells.
jet well.
It's a jet well. It's a 60-foot well. It's a hybrid where it pushes water down and puts
Okay.
water up.
All right, just state your name, just
Sure.
for the record.
Jim Pierce, the homeowner of 2 Janine.
All right,
You can sit up here and talk on the microphone if
just in
if you
case,
want to speak.
yeah. All right, thank you. So the nitrates were over 5, but under 10, I believe, in the,
5.12.
okay, so that triggers this.
Roger.
And also when we're dealing with a well, when it's triggered, I believe per DEP, that has to get tested yearly now until it drops below 5. Just to make sure it doesn't go above 10. If it goes above 10, you need to put in a filter system. But I believe, Ed, is that correct? Where you
That is
researched that?
correct. Exactly how you said it.
So we're gonna have to have that somewhere stated in writing, so I don't know if you're selling this or whatever's going on, that the new buyer understands that the well, the Board of Health will be sending them a letter stating your well needs to be tested.
There's also a maintenance contract with Microfast as well.
Correct.
So there's a couple of things going on with that. We've already got that discussion started with the buyer, yes.
Okay. This is, just inside the Zone A where the tank is. So on the Title V, I'd asked Ed, in our regs, per Title V, we were supposed to be notified, is it 24 hours or 48
Yeah.
hours? 24 hours in advance before an inspector does a Title V. Because we have the right to come out and witness the Title V.
Okay.
A lot of inspectors have not been doing that. This one did not do it.
It was Bay State.
It's something we're probably gonna send a letter out to some of the inspectors.
On this one though, had I gone out there, assuming that I agreed with him, it would have passed on observation of the actual system. It failed when you get the water test a week later.
Okay.
So, I think that's so when you're looking at a D-box, you're looking at the tank. Those things passed, But like I said, if it is contaminating a well, DEP makes it very clear that you're supposed to fail that system, because that's the whole point of failing systems, to prevent contamination of wells, not to prevent backups. It's also to prevent contamination of wells.
Okay, so they turned in a pass Title V and didn't pick up on this well?
Right.
And you picked up
Well,
on it?
they didn't have the water test when they did the thing too.
Okay.
So he did it, and then he got the water test later, and then when the water test came back, I said, hey, you know, you guys
Right.
failed. And then he did, he was supposed to change it and redo it, but he hasn't done that yet.
Okay, I know, I think we had a stipulation now too, we usually don't even take Title Vs without the water test attached to it, because people weren't doing them. I think
Yeah.
that was in a,
It was included, I
We
couple
changed
years ago.
that.
I can-
The second one where he revised it?
I don't know that there was a second one. I thought that it was sent over once the water test was received, because Bay State wouldn't forward it without the water test. They waited for the water test and they sent it into the Board of Health with a conditional pass to be reviewed and approved,
Oh,
I
right,
believe.
when I got it, but usually when he does it, when he's out there in the field, he's either going pass or fail. And he did pass, and then, you know, whenever the water test usually come later,
Right, that's the conditional pass.
Yeah,
I understand.
and it didn't pass the conditional pass, but he.
No, it did pass the conditional pass. It failed the water test. That's what failed the
Well,
system.
that's the
I can
conditional.
forward the Title V to anyone if you'd like a copy of it.
So the conditional pass is, this passes if the water test passes.
Correct.
And the water test didn't pass.
Correct. It failed for nitrates by 12 tenths of or 12
Right, so that,
parts per million, 12 hundredths
which makes it a failure,
for your definition,
per the states.
for the reg.
Yeah.
so on that, I mean, so this was a unique one, like I said, normally, when you get a failure, we upgrade the whole system. So
Right.
we very rarely, this comes in front of us to approve, just to put in the treatment tank and leave a system that's 22 years old, 23 years old. It says 2003 it was put in. And we didn't witness the Title V. They didn't call us like they should have. Not that, again, we don't witness hardly any of them, I think, unless there's a question,
Well,
but,
we're supposed to be notified,
We're
and
supposed to be
then I have the
notified.
option of going out there
Correct.
to do it, so I don't have to go out for everyone.
and the only other stipulation I see on it, now I got the original design plan from Grant Howarth in 2003. Says this was designed for a 3-bedroom house. So technically, this system is a 3-bedroom that's on file. And I know where you're in a zone A, this is only calling for a 2-bedroom up here, so that's a discrepancy.
The home is
My-
a 2-bedroom.
It is, but you got an approved plan for a 3.
Roger.
So I'm leaning more towards it's a 3.
Okay.
I can see what Ed, and if it's approved in our folder as a 3, that's pre-existing
On,
non-conforming.
There's another sheet in there that has the 3-bedroom line through and 2-bedroom written in red. I don't know if that's the accepted sheet or not, but in the record blueprints, the older ones there from, yeah, there's a second one. I believe
Do
it's
you have
on that
anything else
sheet.
in the
It's
folder,
lined
just
through
to
in the red.
clarify that before we approve a 3-bedroom? It does say no increase in flow on it, but this is a 3-bedroom. It's in front of me. I mean, because it makes a difference, you can never go back. If you go into a 2-bedroom, you're never going back to a 3 in a zone A.
Yeah, this is that proposed or as vote? It is proposed, but Larry made a bunch of comments, well, possibly it was Larry, says SAS should be reduced, so maybe they reduced it, and that's why they went with a 2 in the end.
But the Board of Health voted approved as drawn.
Agents, comments,
Overridden? Is that what it says?
he's saying it's an existing 2-bedroom now. So the house is 2-bedroom, that's clear, but they did design it for 3, I see what you're saying.
So where are we on approving this one? Any ideas?
I mean, you can improve it, I mean,
Well, approve it, but I mean, if the board
oh, that one.
overridden, then, I mean, are we gonna let this go as a 3-bedroom where it was designed as a 3? Because that way, I mean, if you do, they could add a bedroom in the future. If not, they're locked in, they can't do anything. You know what I'm saying? I don't wanna
Okay.
Normally, we don't allow increase in flow, but,
And they have it turned in, as-built, so I wonder if they ever even got a compliance on it.
we don't have an as-built in the folder?
No.
No.
Do you know if a, certificate was issued?
Oh, yeah, this is what he's talking about. This one. So we crossed out 2 on Road 220.
Okay.
And it says two-bedroom?
But that's still 333 though.
The design,
But they,
and they crossed it out here. So I would have to say Larry did that on his own. If this was back in Larry days, was Larry's signature anywhere on there?
Yeah, but it's through all of them, so that would have been, who signed that?
that's Larry.
Yeah, so even though the board over says in this note, agent's comments overridden, it says right on it. But he crossed out and went 220. I think maybe what they may be overridden was Larry says it should be reduced because it was a bigger field and they would have had a smaller setback. I think that's what he was arguing over. He used to like to go, if it's 220, he wanted 220, 230 put in and not a 3.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I mean, I can see putting deed restrictions on it, but to make someone force them to put in a smaller field when a larger field will last longer and actually distribute it over a larger area doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So,
Okay. Well, I mean, preferably I would like to go with keeping it at a 2-bedroom. If you're okay with that, just because you got a
Fine.
well 60 feet from it, even though we're doing a D-night.
Oh, here's in the approval. A deed restriction must be recorded with the Plymouth County Registry of Deeds stating this property will remain a 2-bedroom dwelling with no further expansion. No increase in flow to the septic system. A stamped copy of the recorded deed restriction must be submitted to the Board of Health before a septic permit will be issued to the licensed installer.
Okay, so that
And then,
clarifies.
Does your current deed have that?
No.
now, let me see if we ever got that.
So we're gonna have to do like a deed restriction anyway for this D-night, and that will be stipulated in the deed.
Yep,
now,
there's
just
a
so-
copy of the deed restriction right in it.
Do you have a reference for that? A plan reference or a recording reference?
Yeah, 237607,
Do you have it, Will?
No.
November 5th, 2023,
Is there a book and page reference for
Yep.
the
Book.
recording?
26967.
Back then, it
Page
might be separate
348.
from your regular deed. I might.
That's why I'm wondering. I'll need to get a copy of that. I actually don't have a pen handy just at the moment.
That was what, 03? Yeah, that was before all of our time. and the
Yeah, we
homes
got the
changed
copy
since
of
then.
it being stamped in and everything, so.
Okay, so that clarifies
All right,
that question.
2-bedroom.
It was sticking, it's a 2-bedroom.
Yeah, Larry can give you a copy tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Larry.
I'm sorry. I got Larry in the brain talking about it over here. Oh.
Yeah, well, Larry.
He's in Stoughton.
Now, this
Yeah.
Ed,
All right, and the only other, he wanted to know,
We got a well test
Datum
back then
rounds.
too, I'm just trying to see what it was. Glasses.
yeah, I don't see anything else.
that was like my own question.
Oh, even in 2003, this, from the analytical balance, this water does not meet the maximum contaminant level required. So that was,
When looking at the grades around it, I mean, I'm not convinced it's just their system, right?
There's a lot of leaching fields, probably just 100, if that's 60,
oh wait, that was only one page on that one.
60,
They must have had them
80, yeah,
do a
probably just
follow-up
100
one
from the
after.
neighbors. That's bottom of the hill though, so the whole hill runs down. If you look at the, it all goes up, goes down to the
Yeah.
bottom.
So
It's
his
a
wells,
giant hill.
his wells towards the bottom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it gets the whole hill.
Whole hill's coming
And
my way.
towards
There's a
your
cranberry bog across
We've-
the way. That's what's kicking in that wetland.
I know the neighborhood well.
When I first looked at that, I also thought
I was still living on the other
heading towards
side.
the bog. But the bog is artificially high. It's probably about 3 or 4 feet higher than the pond. So it can go north to the bog, which is 3, 4, water table 3, 4 feet higher, or it can go east to the pond, which has a lower. I actually believe it's going east, which would be right in the direction, so.
Even though the runoff from the hill is going north, the under the ground is going the other way towards the lower water table.
That's a pretty good sand out there. I
was
don't
gonna
think
say,
it's
it's
actually
not-
following the slope. I think it's dry. And then when it hits the water table, it's going to the lower the water table, and the lower water table is to the pond. So I actually believe it's flowing towards the pond.
To the
and
west
not-
of the high point through the subdivision though.
Sorry?
It's to the west of the high point through the subdivision though. It would make more sense that it would be flowing towards the bog.
No, but he's
He's
talking about the soil,
runoff,
it's
though.
sandy
Right.
soil, so everything doesn't run with the grade, it goes straight down.
All right, we have borings all the way through there and everything like that. I mean, speculation, right?
But no, it's sand.
We have a lot of testing.
I mean, we've seen a lot of septics throughout there, it's sand, so, but yeah, there's a higher water table out there, you know, you're close to the bog and stuff, and then you get different times of the year, rises.
I think they call almost the bog the water table. It shows 13 feet to
Yeah.
water. Because Larry questioned why there wasn't a water table called out in the data.
Or even your own soil logs, calling it down to 92. Sand, and then sandy loam below that. That doesn't really matter, that doesn't really affect you.
So that was all my questions. I guess I'm good with the deed. You going to D night because you're only a 10,000 square foot lot. And it's 2 bedroom, you need 20. And you're 60 feet to the well, that's triggering the contamination. And testing yearly till it's below 5. Bob, do you have any other?
Now, the D-night system, with the D-night and the 2-bedroom deed restriction, it's already there, but we should just make sure we get a copy of the recording, but, so we should be fine with that. But we can, I just make part of the motion that we continue the 2-bedroom.
I leave in the existing field, which is a.
I'd say
Well, is it
verify
passed?
that deed book and page and
Yeah.
probably put it, if it's there, then reference it on the main deed.
Yeah.
So then it carries forward that way. But yeah, I was fine, especially upgrading to the D9, so. It is what it is.
Ed, is that something you think you'd want to look into the D box at all to verify anything at the tank installation? Or are we good with going with the title?
It has a passing Title V, so I mean,
we're
I
leaving it on
don't
the
question
Title V.
every Title V. If they say, you know, they inspected the D-box, I kind of have to take their word at them, right? Like I said, it was done by Bay State and they're pretty reliable. So I do believe that the D-box was passing.
And you live there currently? There's people living there at time of Title
It
V?
hasn't been occupied since it was listed, actually a month before that,
When was it listed?
November.
When was the Title V done?
November.
So you were living there when the Title V was getting normal use, daily use?
It had been fairly, I was moving out during that week or two before, but yes, I was in and out of there and using facilities if that's,
But up until that, it was currently lived in for years
Right.
prior?
yes.
It hadn't been vacant or a part-time home or anything like that? Okay. Ed, do you have anything else on it?
No.
On the Title V passed, I guess, and they put in a treatment tank.
Yeah, that's all we'd have them do anyway. So it's going to D-night. I'm okay with it if you guys are.
I'm okay with it.
Anybody got a comment?
Someone in the audience? Okay.
I'll make a motion, we approve the 2 local upgrade requests for 2 Janine Street. With the addition of that we confirm that 2-bedroom deed restriction is in place, and if not, it will have one and will stay in place.
And note the well testing yearly,
Oh yeah, and the yearly well
till it gets
testing.
below 5. Yearly well
Yeah.
testing.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, 1 Bailey's Way, meet with the Zenith Consulting Engineers to discuss requested local upgrade approvals. Niles, I called you Niles. Will, over to you again.
Will Connolly, Zenith Consulting Engineers. Site is 1 Bailey's Way. There's an existing 2-bedroom dwelling with a failed cesspool on site, which is located just in front of the house in here. It's bordered by a loon pond to the north, which is a tributary to a surface water supply. We're proposing a 1,500-gallon microfast tank and a 15 by 20 stone and pipe leaching field. We're requesting a reduction in the setback between the leaching field and the well on the Locust property from 100 feet to 80 feet. A reduction between the leaching field and the tributary to the surface water supply from 200 feet to 125 feet. A reduction between the septic tank and the tributary from 200 to 100 feet. And then an increase in the maximum depth over the system from 3 to 4 feet. We essentially pinned the leaching field the only spot we could where we're only affecting the well on our property while keeping it as far away from our well as possible. We're also pushing it as far away from that tributary as we can. And then the increase in depth is just to, so they don't require a pump in order to meet that requirement. It's all sand down to 10 feet with no water table. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, Will, the well results, do we have that, deep well? Any idea on the, seeing it's 80 feet away, 81? The well been tested or turned in?
Sure.
Because this is the whole lot in the zone A?
Yeah, the entire
The whole
lot
lot's in
is.
zone A, okay.
We have testing from 81. It's 285 feet deep, so it's not a deep, it's a deep well.
So it's a deep well, okay. So obviously they have to do a water test. Do you know if they've done it yet, Will?
I do not know if they've done it yet.
Okay. So you'll have to look into that, just
Yeah.
to make sure it's under 100 feet. Your test pits, you have 2 test pit ones again. I've seen that a couple times. Obviously one's a 1 and a 2, but they're
Yes.
both 1s. I don't usually see it in your plans very much. You're going with geotextile fabric instead of pea stone. I know in 310 CMR 15247 aggregate, they do allow filter fabric instead of pea stone. I'm really not a fan of it, but it is in Title V.
Yeah, I think we've just used them kind of interchangeably.
Do you get the same thing? Does mine get a test pit too on it?
Yeah, you didn't label which one.
Oh, on
which,
these
so
two.
you can't tell which holds which,
I
and
hear you.
it has 1 and 2 on the, yes.
Yeah, those notes are down there.
Label test. Any test.
And any idea how long you think that fabric, think that outlasts the system, that 20, 25 years? Filter fabric will,
I have no
Deteriorate.
idea.
no. Like I said, it's in Title V, I don't. So if it's in Title V, I can't really say you can't have it. The D-box, it's calling for H10. Probably should be H20, you're just at 3 feet, we're asking the variance to 4 feet over the field. You don't have it over the septic tank, but it looks like that 48-inch variance you're going for over the field on. You're just at 3 feet probably from the cover of that D-box to 99.
Yeah, and your maximum cover is probably around, yeah, what would be the same as the leaching field.
Yeah, 9570, so you're just over 3.
Yeah,
I think it, especially with the D boxes, haven't been holding up, those H10D boxes.
yeah, it's something we could update just to be safe and,
You do have flow dividers on that. Was that a carryover from another plan? Why are you calling for flow dividers?
I'm guessing that's just a carryover from a system that requires them.
Okay, so those probably not needed if you, I know in a Presby they have to have them, but
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of them.
Yeah, they wouldn't be required, I guess, for this situation.
No, I don't think so.
They just make the hole smaller and this really. All right, that question. All right, and then the last one I get, are you asking for a reduction in the size field on this one? Because if you look down on your print, it says 15 by 20. Up top says 20-foot distribution lines. But if you go under your design calcs, it says soil absorption system provided, use a 15 by 30. And that just comes out to 298 square feet, which is the minimum of what you need. Why is there? And the scales out to 20 on your print, because I scale this, the actual stone, it's 20. But why does that say 30?
Yeah, so we were supposed to be calling out the 50% reduction there.
It is allowed with the test.
They're just not calling it, should be
Yeah.
called out on the plan
Yeah.
correctly.
Right.
It should be one of the variances
It's allowed.
calling for
Yeah,
a
so
field
that's-
reduction.
The design calcs have a typo.
So that should get added to the plan, knowing there's a field and,
Well, it says 15 by 30 is 300 square feet. 15 by 30 is 450 square feet. Right?
Yeah, so that's just a typo.
And 15 by 20 is 300. So it's
so that's just a typo.
So the typo is
Square
just
feet,
on
right.
the plan
On the
view.
design calc, that's a typo.
the,
So it is 20 is what we
Or,
want.
yeah, in the design calc, it's a typo.
it's the 30 is a typo. The 300 is accurate. If
Yeah,
it's a 15 by 20, it would be 300.
yeah, so we weren't doing the reduction here.
So I guess, well, I probably should turn in a new plan then showing an H20D box then and fix that typo
And the test
to it.
pit numbers.
and the test pit numbers.
I think test pit 2 is on the right because that's at elevation 98, whereas test pit 1's at elevation 99, so it's a little higher.
Yeah, that would typically be how we do it. Yeah, we can certainly make those changes.
And remove the, while you're doing it over, remove the, baffles.
Remove the what?
Baffle, right?
Yeah, I mean, unless you want flow dividers, I mean, if you want them, I don't see the need for them. but
Yeah, I
if
don't
you
think
want
we
'em,
we would necessarily,
unless the D box is totally out of level when they put it in,
Yeah.
they need to put them in, but.
Sometimes when the middle line, people have trouble getting it the right
because
one,
it's
so they,
the length of it's shorter, so it.
Right,
matches
so,
up, so.
so, you know, I've gotten to situations where when the middle one's way up and I've made them put levels on
Yeah.
after that. But usually if it's right, then I know, you know.
Right.
But-
And I know that circumstance is usually with chambers, where you have a 10th drop from the D box to the chamber, which is 3 feet in front of it. Being pipe and stone on this one,
Okay.
they're usually all level coming out and you just pick up the 0.5%
Okay.
over that 20 feet. Other than that, I don't see, there's nowhere else to put the system. You got plenty of the water table. I don't have any other comments on that one.
I was just looking at raising the pipe and that's gonna cause some grading issues, probably with the walkway and stuff like that, right, maybe, potentially.
Or to
For
the
the-
tank.
If we raise the pipe, then we'd raise the tank. Oh,
Yeah, you need like the 1.5 foot of
You
cover
probably
over the
wouldn't have
tank to get that
then
piping
you're
to
gonna have
work.
Change the cover there as opposed to,
Yeah, and this is that top mount, it's not an internal mount, so them way out of the ground, I think you're even gonna have a tough time getting that vent to backflow back at that grade, but you'll have to determine that at installation.
Yeah.
It's really high out of the ground by the time you get that 3 inch coming up and out of that plastic piece.
And I forgot to print my notes, but that's everything. You got everything that I had.
Says we'll need a well test, obviously. I don't see anything else on mine. Ed, did you have anything else on your notes on this one?
I did not.
Is there anyone to speak to this in the audience? I see no one. But those changes,
Yeah, me too, you can't put it anywhere else.
can't put it anywhere else, and there's no need of putting a pump in. Just because you're a foot deeper in the ground, I don't have a problem with that.
Right,
It's vented, so
it's
gonna
got
get-
advanced
yeah.
treatment, so it's, yeah, I don't know what else we can do.
All right, Chris, you can run this one out.
All right, I make a motion, we approve the subsurface sewage disposal system upgrade at 1 Bailey's Way with the 4 local upgrades that are printed and then adding, wait, we're not adding, right? Or are we?
you gotta add,
No, we figured out the math was okay, right? It's just
No.
a typo, so we don't need to add the other one, right?
The size of the field's right, it's just not
Size-
Yeah,
printed
field,
right.
field side's correct.
so there's no reduction.
So there's no,
No.
so we're not adding a 5th one, so just the 4 local upgrades and then, new plans correcting all the typos
An H20D box.
Okay.
and an H20D box.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Will.
Thank you
Thanks,
all.
Will.
Tell Jamie to start paying attention before he sends them in.
Jamie would have caught that. Next on the agenda, 84 Taunton Street, meet with Outback Engineering to discuss local upgrade request. See Jeff Youngquist here.
If one of the neighbors well on there.
Okay, he hand drew it on ours. Okay.
Here you go.
Is that the only change? Just the well?
Yes, we just added the well, but we're looking for 1 foot reduction.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yep, I did draw it on.
This is a previously approved plan. And when the contractor was installing it, and Ed knows the story, but they basically, when they took the other one out and then they exposed the pipe coming into the area from the house was 1 foot lower than planned. And basically, in order to change that, you'd have to go tear down the stairs to correct it, and then you would have to bore a hole in the foundation, but the whole foundation is cobblestone. It's stone. And so it wouldn't be cost effective to do it that way. And plus then the grading, everything's at grade, so we'd be creating drainage problems around the house and the garage. And the models where the water tables models, and they dug down to, I think, a foot or 2 below it, and they still didn't find any water. So we're just asking for a reduction from 5 feet to 4 feet.
On this one, Jeff, I have, so I don't know if it makes a difference on this one, Ed. Because they did state there weren't any wells, abutters wells within 150. There's new wells at 102.
102.
Should we have, will that affect this letter at all they gave to us to put in the file, or should that get?
Well, where's the letter, sir?
It just says granting this waiver will not have adverse impacts as 100 feet setback have been maintained from the existing well on the property and over 150 feet from
Ah,
all
yeah.
abutting wells.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So
It's
now-
only 102, right?
Yes, because it wasn't shown on the existing plan. I think you had picked up on that. And you
Yeah.
looked at the plan and said there's a
I mean,
well.
the plan says 100. There are no wells within 100, which is correct.
Okay.
I didn't read the letter.
But does that letter affect anything or just goes in the file?
Yeah, it goes in the file. I mean, I can cross it out, like 100.
Just so it's known that we
Yeah,
picked
just
up
so it's
on it.
known. You know, and then,
So, what was missed, Jeff? Do you have any idea? Did they actually, because there is on the first plan, it was approved, they did call the elevation coming out of the house. Was it just a map there or
but
they
it
messed
came-
up?
It came out and all of a sudden, when they went underneath the step
Yeah,
with the pipe,
yeah.
they lowered it.
Okay.
So when he dug it, he exposed it, the tie-in, where the area we were gonna tie in, and it found out it was a foot lower than what was necessary.
So technically, the pipe coming out of the house is,
Is right where it was supposed
so
to be.
you wouldn't have to put a hole in the field stove foundation or raise any of the plumbing if it's correct.
Yeah,
The problem is out of the house,
yeah,
it's messed up. It drops for some reason,
yeah. But if you'd have to take the,
stairs.
stairs and it would cause a tremendous problem in the,
Okay.
it shows you're replacing that pipe anyway, is it on you, or? It looks like you're replacing it from the foundation. I have an old plan, maybe it's wrong.
It's just, this one says tie into existing sewer pipe with an arrow right at the beginning of the cesspool. What's the older plan show? Tie into existing sewer pipe.
It actually shows a clean out on the building side.
This was the original. Those stairs, are they brick or anything, Jeff? What are they? Is it just wooden or is it brick or?
I think they're, I don't really
Cast,
know, Ed.
anything that-
I don't really know.
I didn't see the property to know what the steps were. Yeah, they did have a clean out all the way back on this one. You're correct. So the original. Yeah. I mean, I see what they mean. It's on top of the ground. I mean, I do get.
If they raise it any, then it will be,
Right.
it'll create grading problems.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I think we had one on Key Street that came in kind of the
Yes.
same. And I think they'd put the same kind of thing on the letter, but they'd already passed one in and approved a plan and had it working with the grades, not with a water problem. And then they came back and said there'll be a water problem if it's a foot higher, which just contradicts the plan we just had put in. I do agree, this one's 97 outlet, I mean, the grade, this one would have been tough to do. You would have had a mound over this pipe even to come out of the tank at 97 in this original design plan.
Yeah,
There would have been a mound right through the yard, like to 98 to get over that, even 98.5 over that pipe. So I think lowering it is, even though that pipe's lower is, I know it says 4 feet to water, it's 436 he's proposing on the new plan. So even though we're giving the waiver to 4, it's
yes.
it's
More.
4.36 is where they're showing it.
Yeah, we're putting a mound all the way out there.
not
Just
a
cause
footway,
more
it's,
problems with drainage and stuff. Would be
Yeah.
better off I think we're just better off letting them do it.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's from models anyway, from the,
Yeah, and if you look at, it's weird out here too, because normally you see the models different with the lower test pit compared to the high one, but there's a 12-inch separation and the models are 12 inches higher and the higher
Yeah.
test pit that's 6 inches higher, which you very rarely see. It's
yeah,
usually doesn't do that. You did have a C1 layer that changed on that test pit. I think is what changed that sandy gravel. I think it made the water come up higher because you had a C2 layer compared to the C1. I think that's where it fluctuated, why it let that water come up a little higher.
You know, little resistance.
Correct, I think it was better material, so I think, even though that's all less than 2,
everything is less than 2 hours.
So it all travels through it. I don't think I have a, like you
I
said,
think
the
it's the lesser of two evils.
436.
I do them, you do them, you know, it'll make a mess if we try to, it'll dam up water if we get a cover.
Yeah, this one's dammed up water, definitely. The original with a clean out they had. You said it was 98, 97 coming out of the tank. It was at 97. I mean, the pipe was literally set on the ground. So Chris, do you have any other?
No, I mean, what are you gonna do? And it's less than, it's asking for a foot, but it's less than a foot. And then,
The only other thing I had written down, you do have 2% and 45 feet to the tee box. I mean, you can go to 1%. I'm not a
Yeah, I
big
know.
fan of it, cause it can freeze at 1%. I've seen them freeze at 1%. You can gain 4.5 tenths right there, almost 6 inches.
Especially that close to the ground.
But again, you're gonna be back close, yeah, you're right, you're getting close to the freeze, and it's gonna be in the 12-inch frost layer that we have right now. So I don't even, I think I like the 2% to the D-box, just to get the water going quicker there and not freezing in the pipe.
Mine's still, and I never go less than two.
Any other comments on this one, Ed?
No.
And you said you went out there anyway, you've already been out on this one?
Yeah, I did the open hole, and like I said,
tank
when I
was
did the
set.
open hole, the tank was in, I thought they were all set. And then, they came back with that, and like I said, they just,
And they hooked onto the pipe up near where the steps were, they went back that far?
yeah, they actually just took the old, tank and just demolished it and hooked right in there. They didn't go back
Yep.
any, you know.
Okay. Is there anyone to speak to this in the audience?
Everyone good?
I'm good
no,
with it.
and the other thing too is that field is also more, it's oversized a little bit too. So there's more treatment area, whatever. Anyway,
I'll make a motion, we approve the one local upgrade request for 84 Taunton Street. And, just ask that, he gives us a new letter or just initials to make before we leave, changing that 150 from abutting wells to 100. On this letter. Yep.
Just for the folder.
Yeah, this looks right.
Yep.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Just initial this one, you won't have to do a new letter, just so we can throw it in the folder. I crossed out 150 and I put 100. Well, you stamped it, so do you wanna go back and do a new
That's
letter, or you just
Jason.
wanna initial it?
Right again.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
Thanwe And Ed, you're gonna have to, now we have a new plan with this, you have to have deleted for another set, void, for the second plan.
Yeah, but, so I'll keep the ones that you guys have for the folder, and I'll get rid of all the others.
Yeah, cause he brought in new ones with a well on it.
Yeah,
So
those
that'll be
ones
the
I
ones
want.
we give out to the installer.
This is the one that. And that's the good one, the folder that comes with Duncan.
All right, next on the agenda, discussion regarding proposed open space bylaw. It's been continued for the last 4 or 5 meetings. I don't have anything, any update at all on anything to do with that.
Have you heard anything, Ed?
Do you have
No,
that?
anything new.
So I don't know. So I have nothing to add to it.
I'll make a motion, we, continue that discussion to our next meeting in case we do get something, from them.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next on the agenda, review and approve meeting minutes as typed from December 4th, 2024. All 3 members were present. I read through it. I'm fine with the meeting minutes as typed.
I'm good.
I'll make a motion, we approve the December 4th, 2024 meeting minutes as typed.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Announcements, turn it over to Ed, and any recent Board of Health agent pending items to Ed.
There are no Board of Health pending items.
And there's no announcements we need to make.
No announcements either.
Anything with the board members for discussion or announcements?
I'm good.
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 That is it for the agenda.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.